Everybody. Happy Thursday at the end of the day. Isn't it wonderful to be a Thursday? Especially when we have Friday coming up. Oh, anybody going to prom this weekend? Excuse me. Have a bit of a cough today. Allergies. Nobody's going to prom? Or you're just not telling me you're going to prom. Okay. Well, that's your call. It's there's a lot of fun memories to be made at the end of college, high school. There we go. There also are a lot of nice memories to be made at the end of college, should you choose to go. Um, when I was in high school, everybody kept saying, well, if you don't go to college, that's it. There are so many avenues now that I wish that they had told us about. Um, my son's in the middle of getting a whole bunch of certifications, so it's like going to be eligible to get a full-time job out of high school. It's like, that is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Okay, and I figured out what happened with the Nearpod. So, while we were all on spring break, I made the Macbeth Act 3 Nearpod. That's all I got to do over spring break for the school, but I had gotten that done, so I was kind of happy with myself. Then, when we got back, I still wanted to be ahead of the game, so I went ahead and I made Act 4. What was played yesterday was one I did not make, and I don't know how this happened. It was the title of Act 3, but they took the video of Act 4 and put it in there. So I was getting ready to redo Act 3 in there, and I did some more searching and I found the one I originally made. So we're going to do Act 3 today, the way we've been doing it. The ebook thing was fine. I find it hard to follow along with that one as much unless you have it in front of you. And so I'm not sure like what your screen setup is. So I really wanted to go back to the live play because I feel like the actors help with the interpretation and give you more of visual of what's going on. And I feel like the watching the motions and everything makes it a little bit more understandable of what's actually happening. Um, if I go on like a coughing spree or something like that, I'm going to mute myself so that you guys don't have to hear that because it's not been pleasant. So we are going to get into Macbeth Act 3, and we should have time after that so that we can kind of put things in order of what happened in Act 2, Act 3, and Act 4. Kind of flopped around a little bit there with this whole extra Nearpod thingy that happened. I've never had something make an extra resource for me. Would have been nice if they did a good job too. Took some of my questions from each one. It was really weird. Okay, so I am going to share my screen and you guys can get set up in the correct Nearpod. And hopefully this goes a little smoother today. Ready. Looks like everybody's in there. Now, let us go on to Act 3. So, we can gonna recap Act 2 really quick, just because it's been a little bit since we've done Act 2. All right, so Act 2, Scene 1, we have Banquo and his son talking, and Macbeth comes in. He says he's a friend, and Banquo's like, "Hey, remember those three weird sisters?" And Macbeth's like, "Hardly think of that." So we can tell at this point that Macbeth and Banquo, their friendship now has a rift in it. And so so that is a good significance of Act 2, Scene 1. In Scene 2, then Lady Macbeth is finishing the letter. So we don't get to see what the whole letter is. We only see her reacting to the ending of the letter. So we have to kind of fill in the spaces there. And when Lady Macbeth finds out what the sisters predicted, she's like, oh, well, we're definitely going to go for the throne. And then we find out that Macbeth is like, I don't want to, but his wife's like, are you going to be a real man and step it up? And so it doesn't go well um, with Lady Macbeth because she has made the guys drunk. They're supposed to be having Duncan, the king. They're guarding him. And so she can't kill Duncan. Sorry, I hit my keyboard. That's what showed up in the chat. Apparently a bunch of commas or periods. Hold on, got something coming in. Okay. So, Act 2, Scene 2, that's when they actually murder Duncan and then frame Duncan's guards for it. So, we have the banging at the door, which gets everybody unsettled. Lord and Lady Macbeth decide to go to bed and pretend they were sleeping. But we have a drunk porter going over a whole bunch of stuff, letting us know what happened, and Macduff comes in. Now, this is very important because Macduff plays a very important role later on. So, Macbeth lets Macduff go in to find the king has been murdered. And, like, oh man, the guards must have done it. Excuse me. Look, it's their swords. Clearly, they did it. Excuse me. And then in Scene 4, got an old man, which usually represents wisdom. And it's also somebody that can make it so that we can hear the interior thoughts of what's going on. So this character, Ross, he kind of updates us all on the events that have unfolded. And then we come to Act 3, Scene 1, which is where we'll start off with here. If I go, there we go. Lost my cursor.
That would make good of bad
That's the end
and
of
friends of
Act 2.
foes.
Okay, so what are three important events that led up to this act? Kind of gave you a little recap on that one. I paused the share on that one, so your answer will not appear even though your name is up on the board. I'll give you a few minutes with that, and then I'll look those over when it's not on screen. Good answers in here. It's interesting when you are going over Shakespearean tragedy, uh, the different types of things he does. Certainly has a lot of people dying in his plot. So when you see tragedy, don't expect to have the same amount of characters in the end as you do in the beginning. And continue on a little bit. Okay. Free. So I'm sharing my screen.
Thou hast it now, King, Cawdor, Glamis, all as the weird women promised. And I fear thou playest most foully for it. Yet it was said it should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truth from them, as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. Why, by the verities in thee made good, may they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? But hush no more.
Here's our chief guest.
If he had been forgotten, it had been as a gap in our great feast, an all thing unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir, and I'll request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie, forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon.
Aye, my good lord.
We had else desired your good advice, which still hath been both grave and prosperous in this day's council. But we'll take tomorrow. As far you ride.
As far, my lord, as will fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better, I must become a borrower of the night for a dark hour, twain.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
We here, our bloody cousins, are bestowed in England and in Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide.
Right. Who are Macbeth and Banquo? I'm sorry, that's Macduff discussing. So who's being discussed here? I guess I just gave away one of the answers, one of the wrong choices. Okay, we all think they're discussing Macduff. It was the princes.
Filling their ears with strange invention, but of that tomorrow, when we shall have cause of state craving us jointly. Hie you to horse. Adieu to your return at night. Goes Fleance with you.
Aye, my good lord, our time does call upon.
I wish your horses swift and sure of foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell. Let every man be master of his time till 7 at night. To make society the sweeter welcome, we will keep ourselves till supper time alone. Well then, God be with you. Sirrah, a word with you. Attend those men our pleasure.
They are, my lord, without the palace
Bring
gate.
them before us.
Yes.
To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus, our fears in Banquo stick deep. And in that royalty of nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, and to that dauntless temper of his mind he hath a wisdom that doth guide his valor to act in safety. There is none but he whose being I do fear. He chid the sisters when first they put the name of king upon me and bade them speak to him. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him father to a line of kings. Upon my head they placed a fruitless crown and put a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. If it be so, for Banquo's issue have I filed my mind.
Yes, that was Banquo. He and Macduff kind of look the same in this production. Um, Macduff comes later on. So that was Banquo and Felice, his son. And so he's mad at the sisters' predictions in this little hissy fit he's having right here that none of his children will succeed him on the throne because the sisters said that Banquo will be his lineage will be on the throne. So it's not good enough that he had to kill a couple of people to claim the throne for himself and he got the throne. Now he's upset that he won't have a line with the throne.
For them, the gracious Duncan, have I murdered, put rancors in the vessel of my peace, only for them, and mine eternal jewel given to the common enemy of man to make them kings. The seed of Banquo kings. Who's there? Now go to the door and stay there till we call. Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please your
Well,
highness.
then now have you considered of my speeches? Know that it was he in times past who held you so under fortune which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference.
You made it known to us.
I did so, and went further, which is now our point of second meeting. Do you find your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go?
We are men, my liege.
Hi! In the catalog ye go for men, as hounds, greyhounds, mongrels, spaniels, curs, shows, water rugs, and demi-wolves are clept, all by the name of dogs. The valued file distinguishes the swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter, everyone according to the gift which bounteous nature hath in him closed, and so of men. Now, if you have a station in the file, not in the worst rank of manhood, say it, and I will put that business in your bosoms whose execution takes your enemy off. Both of you know Banquo was your enemy.
True, yes, my lord.
So is he mine. And in such bloody distance that every minute of his being thrusts against my nearest of life. And though I could, with barefaced power, sweep him from my sight, and bid my will avouch it, yet I must not. For certain friends that are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail his fall, who I myself struck down. And thus it is that I to your assistance do make love, masking the business from the common eye, for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our
Your
lives-
spirits shine through you. Within this hour at most, I would advise you where to plant yourselves, acquaint you with the perfect spy of the time, the moment on for must be done tonight. And something from the palace. Always thought that I require a clearness. And with him, to leave no rubs nor botches in the work. Fleon's his son that keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve.
Plan is being hatched at this point. Are they planning a surprise party for Lady Macbeth because her birthday is coming up? Are they planning on killing Banquo that night? Are they planning on taking over Ireland too, so they need to kill their prince also? Or are they planning to put an addition on the castle?
Resolve your...
It was B. They were planning on killing Banquo that night. But I got a little laugh out of the taking over Ireland part because I made that up completely.
yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We are resolved.
My lord.
Abide within. I'll call upon you straight. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight, if it find heaven, must find it out tonight.
Is Banquo gone from court?
Aye, madam, but returns again tonight.
Say to the king I would attend his leisure for a few words.
Madam, I will.
Naught's had. All's spent, wherein our desire is got without content. 'Tis safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. How now, my lord? Why do you keep alone of sorriest fancies your companions making, using those thoughts that should have died with them they think on? Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scotched the snake, not killed it.
So Macbeth was mad earlier that his kids won't be able to take over and ascend the throne. And now Lady Macbeth is mad at Macbeth for not enjoying and relishing their new position. So I think these have to be like the most deplorable people as far as couples. I'm sure there's a couple more that are worse than them, but I have a hard time finding them.
She'll close and be herself, whilst our poor Malice remains in danger of her former tooth. But let the frame of things disjoint, both the world suffer, ere we will eat our meal in fear and sleep in the affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we, to gain our peace, have sent to peace, than on the torture of the mind to lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fitful fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. Nor steel, nor poison, malice, domestic, foreign levy, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord. Sleek o'er your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among your guests tonight.
So shall I love, and so I pray be you, and make our faces vizards to our hearts, disguising what we are.
Oh, heaven help us if we don't look happy at our party tonight. We've only killed at least 3 people at this point. Ordered a good friend and his kids murder for that night. Let's go happy and be at a party.
You must leave this.
Ah, full of scorpions is my wine, dear wife. Thou knowest that Banquo and his flayance lives.
But in them nature's copies not etern.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then be thou jocund. Ere the bat hath flown his cloistered flight, ere to black Hecate summons the shard-born beater with his drowsy hums hath rung night's yawning peal, there shall be done a deed of dreadful note.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, till thou applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with thy bloody and invisible hand cancel and tear to pieces that great bond which keeps me pale. Light thickens, and the crow makes wing to the rooky wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, while night's black agents to their praise do rouse. Thou marvelest at my words, but hold thee still. Things bad begun make strong themselves by ill. So, prithee, go with me.
The west yet glimmers with some streaks of day. Now spurs the lated traveler apace to gain the timely inn, and near approaches the subject of our watch. Hark! I hear horses.
Give us a light there. Ho!
Well, then 'tis he. The rest that are within the note of expectation already are in the court.
His horses go about.
Almost a mile. But he does.
So who are these two characters? Are they the murderers, the robbers, the neighbors, the princes? Which ones are they?
He does use.
They actually are the murderers. They're waiting for Banquo and Lance. I don't know, it's Scottish. They're waiting for them to come because that's where Macbeth told them they would be, because the murder has to happen this evening because of the information that they have. So that's what they're doing.
As usually, so all men do from hence to the palace gate make it their walk. A light, a light!
'Tis he. Stand to it.
It'll be rain tonight.
Let it come down.
Victory! Fly, good flares, fly!
But who did strike out the light?
Oh, what's not the way? There's but one down. The sun has fled. We've lost the best half of our affair.
Well, that's a way. Say how much is done.
Okay, so they're murderers, but they're not very good at their job. So they were supposed to get both of them, and they only did half the job. And then one murderer criticized the other one with how he did it. I mean, come on. If you're gonna murder somebody, does it matter how it's done? Yeah. So it's a picky, we've got a sloppy murderer, and then we have a picky murderer.
You know your own degrees. Sit down. At first and last, a hearty welcome.
Thanks, Your Majesty.
Ourself will play the humble host and mingle with society. Our hostess keeps her state, but in best time we will require her welcome.
Pronounce it for me, sir, to all our friends. For my heart speaks they are welcome.
See, they encounter thee with their hearts' thanks. Both sides are even here, I'll sit in the midst.
Okay, so he's like, okay, you guys are over here, you guys are over here, I'm gonna sit in the middle. And Lady Macbeth, that one, she talks about opening up her heart. I would hate to see what comes out of there. Just saying.
Be large in mirth. Anon, we'll drink a measure the table round. There's blood on thy face.
'Tis Banquo's then.
'Tis better thee without than he within. Is he dispatched?
The Lord his throat is cut. That much I did for him.
Thou art the best of the cutthroats, yet he's good that did the like for Fleance.
So here is the sloppy murderer.
If thou didst it, thou art the nonpareil.
Most royal sir. Fleance escaped.
Then comes my fit again. I had us been perfect, whole as the marble, founded as the rock is broad, and general as the casing air. But now, in my cabin, cribbed, confined, bound into saucy doubts and fears. But Banquo's safe.
Ah, my good lord, safe in a ditch he bides, with 20 trenchant gashes on his head, the least a death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the grown serpent lies, the worm that's fled. Hath nature in him that with time venom will breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. Tomorrow we hear ourselves again.
My noble lord, you do not give the cheer.
Sweet remembrance, sir. Now good digestion, weight on appetite, and health on both.
May it please your highness, sit.
Here had we now our country's honor roofed, with a graced person of our Banquo present, who may I rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
So what character are they waiting for? Lennox, Macduff, Banquo, or Macnar? Yeah. Let's have a party and hire people to kill him and his son, and then what? We're not going to have fun at our party? Now, here's my question. Everybody's at a table but Macbeth. So when the food comes out, does he get like one of those TV tray things to eat his food at the throne? Does the servant have to stand there and hold it for him? Because he can't put it on his royal lap. Don't think they had TV trays back then either. Very good. We're waiting for Banquo.
Chance?
His absence, sir, lays blame upon his promise. Please, your highness, to grace us with your royal presence.
The table's full.
Here's a place reserved, sir.
Where?
Here, my good lord. What is it, moves your highness?
Which of you have done this?
What, my lord?
Never say I did it! Thou canst not shake thy gory locks at me!
Rise, his highness is not well.
Sit, worthy friends. My lord is often thus and hath been from his youth. Pray you keep seat. If you much note him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed and regard him not. You a man?
And a bold one that dare look on that which might appall the devil!
Proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. Oh, these flaws and starts, impostors to true fear, would well become a woman's story at a winter's fire, authorized by her grandam. Shame itself. Why do you make such faces? When all's done, you look but on a stool.
Okay. I've had to check my face before. You know, we've had people react in a way that I thought was inappropriate. And so I kind of like a look on my face, and you know, it's not always very polite to react in such a way. But Macbeth starts screaming in front of everybody because he sees the floating dagger again. And Lady Macbeth, being the kind and supportive wife that she is like, "You idiot, what are you doing?" And then she calls him unmanly again. So
See there! Look! Lo! Behold! How say! Why? If thou canst nod, speak too! If charnel houses and our graves must send those that we bury back, our monument should be the malls of kites! Ah!
What? Quite unmanned in folly?
If I stand here, I saw him!
Fie! For shame!
Blood hath been shed ere now. In the olden time, ere human statute purged the gentle wheel, aye, and since too, murders have been performed too terrible for the ear. The time has been that when the brains were out, the man would die, and there an end. But now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crowns and push us from our stools. This is more strange than such a murder is.
Why, worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
I do forget. Do not muse at me, my most worthy friend. I have a strange infirmity, which is nothing to those that know me.
So in order to explain this flipping out and seeing objects and that kind of a thing, he's like, oh, you know, people that know me really good know I just do this every once in a while. Yeah, sorry about that. Didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable, but sometimes I see things that aren't there, and sometimes, it freaks me out. So just bear with me. I actually went to a wedding one time where the groom's brother made the bride cry, and it kind of just made everybody like leave. And I bet none of you are going to be surprised that that marriage did not last a year. So, just saying. Okay. So, he is obviously so guilty and so fearful of being caught at what he's done that he's cracking under the pressure. His loving wife here, she is seeing him cracking under the pressure, and she takes a very gentle approach of yelling at him and telling him how bad he is at what he's doing. So I don't see her throwing gasoline on any fires or anything like that. I mean, she might as well just start getting up and yelling herself.
Come, love and health to all. Then I'll sit down. Give me some wine. Feel full. I drink to the general joy of a whole table, and to our dear friend Banquo, whom we miss. Would he were here. To all and him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and the pledge.
Avaunt! And quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee! Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold, there is no speculation in the...
So, what just happened that would be attributed to science fiction? Did a vampire appear, a werewolf, a witch, or a ghost?
In those...
That was a ghost that appeared. So, reason why it's considered science fiction. Some people believe there's ghosts, some people believe there are no ghosts, and that sort of a thing. We can't prove a ghost. So this has actually come up in legal matters. The only one I can think of right now was somebody bought a house from somebody, and then you're supposed to disclose things. So if there's, let's say, mold growing someplace or a pipe broken, the seller has to disclose that to anybody that they're selling that to. Well, the people that bought the house claimed that it was haunted by ghosts and that it was not disclosed. So they took the sellers to court for it, but the court threw it out because they said you can't prove the existence of a ghost, even though they apparently had a lot of evidence. So that's why it's got to stay in the science fiction category, whether you believe it or not.
In those eyes which thou dost glare with...
Speak of this, good fears, but as a thing of custom. 'Tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
What man dare I dare? Approach thou like the rugged Russian bear, the armed rhinoceros of the Hyrcan tiger. Take any shape but that, and my firm nerve shall never tremble. Hence, horrible shadow! Unreal mockery, hence! Why, so being gone, I am a man again. Pray you sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broke the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be, and overcome us like a summer's cloud without our special wonder? You make me strange even to the disposition that I owe. And now I think you can behold such sights, and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is blanched with fear.
What sights, my lord?
I pray you, speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order of your going, but go at once. Go!
Boy, do they know how to throw a party. Hey, come on over, sit down, enjoy it. Then I'm gonna scream and flip out, and then the wife's gonna just kick you out of my house. I mean, wow. Oh, don't forget, he flipped over a table in this one too. So, this is what you have to kind of do if you've done a party. Maybe more people came than you have the catering order for, and then you got to flip out so everybody leaves before the food is gone around. But he is just cracking under the pressure, and Lady Macbeth is not helping. I think she is actually adding to his stress at this point because she keeps calling out his manhood. She's like, oh, no. Take this like a man, which clearly you're not. And then telling people to leave in that manner, it's not good manners at all.
Good night, and better health attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
It will have blood, they say. Blood will have blood. Stones have been known to move and trees to speak. Augurs and understood relations have by maggot pies and chuffs and rooks brought forth the secretest man of blood. What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, which is which?
How sayest thou that Macduff denies his person at our great bidding?
Did you send to him, sir?
I hear it by the way, but I will send. There's not a one of them but in his house I keep a servant paid. I will tomorrow, and betimes I will to the weird sisters. More shall they speak.
Okay, so this is the part we already saw when he goes to see the weird sisters and they have that strange square-shaped cauldron and stuff like that, and then all the people that he's been responsible for dying show up. So when he says he has a paid servant in Macduff's place, this is somebody that is spying on him and his family. And so they report back to Macbeth. So in case you're wondering why he is like starting to have more issues, that gives us a clue right there. So anybody that he does not trust the household of, he has a paid servant in that household to report back anything to him that he needs to know. So if everything was fine and nobody was talking about the suspicious murder of Duncan, how the princes have run away and they need to get them back because they don't like the current management and leadership of the country, he is hearing these stories. We don't get to see this because it's off stage. But that little clue lets us know what is feeding some of the anxiety that he's demonstrating to us. Why he knows what characters to trust and which ones not to trust.
For now I am bent to know by the worst means the worst. For mine own good all causes shall give way. I am in blood, stepped in so far, that should I wade no more, returning were as tedious as go o'er. Strange things I have in head, which will to hand, which must be acted ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all natures. Sleep.
Come, will to sleep.
That just mentions sleep. What did he say about sleep when Duncan was first assassinated? A, he won't sleep again. B, he will sleep better after that. C, he will be nervous to sleep. or D, he will sleep deeper after that. Something they probably didn't know back then that medical science has been able to discover since. Most people cannot live longer than 10 days without sleep. So that is an interesting fact. That's actually a form of torture that the Geneva Convention is against. Good, you won't sleep again. So he is slipping into madness, not just from the things that he's done, the anxiety, and the fear and the guilt and that kind of a thing. He is experiencing lack of sleep, which on top of all the emotional stuff, now he's got some chemical stuff messing with him too.
My strange and self-abuse is the initiate fear that wants hard use. We are yet but young, indeed.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret further. Only I say things have been strangely born. The gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth merry. He was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late. Whom you may say, if please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Oh, man must not walk too late. And who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Damned fact. Oh, how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage the two delinquents tear that were the very slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was not that nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for 'twould have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So that I say, he hath borne all things well. And I do think, had he Duncan's sons under his key, and as it please heaven he shall not, they should know what 'twere to kill a father. And so should Fleance. But peace, for from broad words, and 'cause he failed his presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself? The son of Duncan, Malcolm, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court, and is received of the most pious Edward with such grace that the malevolence of fortune nothing holds from him his high respect. Thither, Macduff is gone to pray the holy king upon his aid.
Okay, so this is where we find out where Macduff has gone. So, Macduff has gone to England to ask Malcolm to come back and take his rightful place on the throne because he does not like how the things are going with Macbeth. Also, he feels that something shady is going on, and the servant that was in Macduff's house is the one that is reporting this. So that's how Macbeth knew that Macduff has gone to England, which, if you're looking at it from Macbeth's point of view, he is now on the throne, so he feels that this is treason because Macduff is acting not in the best interest of a current sitting king. But if you look at it from the point of view that Macbeth shouldn't be there at all because he's the one that murdered Duncan, Now, this is not treason because Malcolm is the rightful heir to the throne. So, since Duncan is no longer sitting in it, Malcolm should be the one that is there, but fled to England in order to spare his own life. Honestly, back then they had to be very careful. There was a historic account that happened before Shakespeare's time where it was actually Shakespeare's monarchs, the second one, King James, because Queen Elizabeth was the first one on the throne when he was born. She passed away and King James took over. That was King James' grandmother had to do that. Her husband died and she had to get the kids and protect them. And she was in Scotland also because she had to get reinforcements to come in before she could feel comfortable, having the next generation come in there. So this is stuff that's happened before. And in his time recently. Another one is King James' mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, tried to have Queen Elizabeth murdered. So she actually was executed for treason, and her executioner was rumored to have been not sober, and he kind of missed the first few times he tried. She had a very, very rough execution. So this is something that they have seen happen, at least two times that I could think of, that Shakespeare would have known about because this happened in his lifetime or right before he was born. So he had a lot of history books that he referenced when he was making his plays. So that's why he has all of those history ones like Richard III and that kind of a thing. He looked at the history books to see what had happened, mostly in English history. And then he was making money by writing plays and having them do plays so that they could watch their history unfold. It is a little skewed because you do not want to say anything negative or make look weak any ancestors of the people that are sitting on the throne, because that would be really bad. Found it.
To wake Northumberland and warlike seaward, that with the help of these and with God above we may ratify the works and give meat to our tables, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets bloody knives. Do faithful homage and receive free honors, all which we pine for now. This report hath so exasperate the king that he prepares for some attempt of war.
Well, sent he to Macduff?
He did, and with an absolute, "Sir, not I," turns him the cloudy messengers back as who should say, "You'll rue the day that clogs me with this answer."
And that might well advise him to a caution, to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Oh, some holy angel, fly to the court of England and unfold this message ere he comes, that a swift blessing may soon return to this
Okay, got him in the middle. I was trying to get closer to the end, but it wouldn't let me. All right, so I want you to list some important things that happened in this act. Give you a little bit of time to work on that one. Okay, so to give you a little breakdown of some of the stuff that has unfolded. There we go. All right. So we start off with Banquo suspecting that Macbeth played most foully to achieve the throne. Okay. So, what once was his friend, now that he suspects him. So, the party that they were having was for Banquo. It was the solemn supper. So, not only was there a party, the party was for him. So, Banquo and his son Fleece are going to ride out the afternoon, but Banquo promises return for the banquet. So, remember Macbeth told the murderers, he's like, I know where he's going to be. They're talking about the princes, which that's the one question we had about who are they discussing. And then he goes over the hissy fit that he had, where he goes over Banquo's future children becoming kings, and that's why he's mad. So, Murder sees the Baron Scepter. This is a very big symbol that Shakespeare likes to use. Also, later on in the literature too. Um, this is a indication of like a big rock, and it's kind of like the big white rock that was Jesus's temporary tomb from the Bible. So it's kind of like a an innocent person was killed. They usually use that. And so then he convinces two murderers to kill Banquo and Flance. Please. All right. Oop, went too far. So, Act 3, Scene 2, Lady Macbeth doesn't ever let go, does she? So she's like, "What's done is done." It's kind of like I hear this a lot, and honestly, it annoys me at times when somebody goes, "It is what it is." First off, it's redundant. Secondly, that implies that there's no wiggle room. So, I don't know, somebody supposed to do something and they don't do it, and then you're like, "Hey, why didn't you do what you said you were going to do?" When they reply with, "It is what it is," so I'm like, you know what? That's the second thing I'm ticked off at you about. So, not a fan. Okay. So, Macbeth's plagued by fears, potential threats, and troubled dreams. So, sounds like he is sleeping a little bit, even though he said he wouldn't. Um, is anybody surprised that he's also a liar? I mean, look at all the awful things this character has done. Could we put lying on there too? And this is just messed up, honestly. He envies Duncan, who sleeps well in his grave. Oh. So, Lady Macbeth encourages him, kind of more tears him down and makes him feel sorry to exist, and tries to get him to put on a brave face because she wants the party to go well. I mean, who wouldn't want the party to go well? What could go wrong, right? Um, and so yeah, he's starting to see things, so that's never going to be good. So the murderers attack. They get Banquo, but this guy ends up escaping. So um, they were able to get the one out. So guests arrive at the banquet. That was that really awkward thing that we were watching. Everybody's sitting there trying to eat and have pleasant conversation. And Macbeth keeps freaking out and saying stuff. And then there's the rest of it. So he's mad at the witches because he uh he liked hearing about his destiny, but things aren't ending up the way that he wanted to. All right, so that's the rest of the notes on this one. Went by actually kind of fast. So we'll have to continue with our notes from Act 4 next week. All right. Well, if you're going to the prom, have fun, enjoy, and